Hello everyone, my name is Colin and thanks for coming to my video. Today we are going to be talking about the Aquarius. We're going to be talking about the Aquarius today. And again, I'm going to try not to edit this video too much. I want it to be as authentic and as original as possible. I appreciate everyone that did check out my other video. If you haven't, it is on my channel. It is Weave Your Destiny June edition. The reason why we're doing Aquarius today is because a friend of mine, her name is Sparta. She's very big in the zodiac. She actually texted me and she said that she would like an Aquarius edition today. So shout out to her. If there's any Aquarius out there right now watching this video, you can thank her for today's video. And so we're gonna do Aquarius today. And how that's gonna happen is, let's see, because I'm choosing between two I want to do. Do I want to do like a point of view, like how other people view Aquarius, or do I want to do like a daily horoscope for Aquarius? Like, could do both. We'll see. But I will start off with a point of view, how other people view Aquariuses. And when I say other people, this could be your friends, this could be your family, someone that you work with. It could be anybody that, who views you this way. And I'm going to draw 3 cards. I like to do 3 cards. That usually kind of helps, water down the 3 main big things that Aquariuses have. And before I do that, I want to talk about my perspective of Aquarius, just to see if I can kind of get it right. I think Aquarius people are really freedom fighters. There are people who don't like to be constrained or restrained to norms. They're normally wallflowers. They're very creative, have a lot of personality. They think for themselves and they don't like to be controlled. So that's mainly like my perspective. They're very bubbly, very giggly, have really good personalities. So let's get started. So I did shuffle the cards. So I'm actually gonna draw the cards out and then I'm gonna do it one by one for the video. All right, we got our 3 cards and we got a reverse one here too. I'm not gonna mention it yet again until the video, until we get to that part of the card, but we're gonna go ahead and start. I got my guidebook here and I really should be marking these, like coins, things like that. So that way we'll just know where to start at as well. Because I mainly don't even read from the book. And the reason why is because I like to give my own authenticness, but I know some people like a little literature. So for you guys, I am going to do that. I'm just going to earmark these. That way we can immediately flip to them. It's all about efficiency. I'm a Gemini, and Geminis, we have to be efficient no matter what, in our efficientness, so to speak. So, and then we have, okay, cool. So this is going to be a very interesting one. I can definitely tell it's definitely going to be interesting. Alrighty. So what is the point of view of an Aquarius? And it's not only going to be a point of view of how others view you, it's also how you view yourself. So there may be talk of like the shadow, of like the darker qualities of the Aquarius, and there may be the positive qualities of Aquariuses, but we're about to find out right now. All right, guys, so we have the 7 of coins. The 7 of coins, again, just that beautiful iridescent color. I love these cards so much. They are very much remind me of the rainbow. And also because it's a black card, it's nice because the rainbow is essentially a blend of colors, but black is all colors. So it really helps me find a lot of balance with these cards. But the 7 of coins is all about perseverance. It's all about determination and alignment. And I really want to just talk more about the determination and the perseverance. Aquariuses, like, you guys get shit done. If you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And that's part of why I consider you guys as freedom fighters, because you're very much about being free. You're very much about being in your own bubble, in your own space. You don't need a lot of people around you to do things that you want to do. And oftentimes, or at least I find, oftentimes you find yourself in situations, that you put yourself in because you feel so free spirited, so so at will about things. Funnily, I mentioned Sparta. She was actually there during Pride, and she was by herself for a little bit. But because Aquariuses are so open in communication and very, social, she was able to talk to a lot of people, and she like made new friends there. And I really enjoy that aspect of Aquarius. Again, that you guys are so communicative and so expressive and so accepting at the same time. And you're very determined, very determined. You don't like when people get in the way of your determination. You are someone who wants to be encouraged, like you already have that determination there, but you also would like encouragement. The encouragement of what you're doing is right, so that you can keep yourself on the right track. And that's where the alignment comes from. A lot of time Aquariuses do seek help. They do seek reassurance, and it's not necessarily a bad thing as long as it's coming from the right people, but it's still a great trait to have. Like, you guys are willing and able to listen to other people's perspectives, advice, or tips or suggestions on what, they have or what they've experienced, and kind of apply it to yourself. And so that's why I feel like the Seven of Coins definitely represents the Aquarius nature, at least the spirit of it. All right. So now we have, I'm going to bring it up here again. I have my guidebook. It's just a little guidebook, that kind of helps me, pull out words and things like that to better construct what I'm trying to say and everything. Okay, so now we have the Eight of Swords. Ooh, the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Swords. So Eight of Swords is essentially self-victimization. Honestly, I feel like a lot of zodiacs could react to self-victimization, but none more so than the Aquarius, okay? I have a plethora of experiences with different Aquariuses in which they feel like it's very negative talk, a lot of negative self-talk. They feel like the world hates them, that the world doesn't appreciate them, that the people in their life don't like them. They very much feel sorry for themselves, But the cool thing about the Eight of Swords is it is kind of like a little bit of tough love. Is to say, hey, you're not the victim. You're only the victim if you make yourself the victim. You get what I'm saying? And what I want to read from here is that if it seems particularly challenging for you, try to empower yourself in a lot of small ways. And what that looks like, what does empowering mean? What does empowerment mean to you? What does that look like? Does empowerment look like self-care? Does it look like going to the gym? Does it look like setting small goals for yourself, realistic goals, mind you? But does it look like setting goals for yourself and completing them? What does empowerment look like for you? Again, this card could relate to you, but this card could relate to someone you love, someone you care about, a family, a friend, an associate at work. What are those things that you can come up with that will help empower you to not feel so self-victimized, to feel so imprisoned, Again, Aquariuses are very much about freedom. But, again, the darker side or the opposite side of freedom is imprisonment. And oftentimes you guys feel imprisoned within your body, you feel imprisoned within your friend group, you feel imprisoned even in your relationships. It's because Aquarius is so accepting and so, I would say, dependent sometimes in relationships, that you guys put up with a lot of stuff. You guys seem to convince yourself that it's whatever I am in or whatever I'm dealing with is okay. And I'm here to tell you, like, we got to get out of that sense of self-imprisonment. We have to get out of that sense of self-victimization, because the only one holding your back the only one truly holding you back is you. Okay? So that's what I wanted to say. All right. So the next one we have, and I think personally, it's a really good card. And I feel like this kind of gets down to the nitty gritty of what Aquariuses are, So the Sovereign of Coins, not the Sovereign of Coins, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Not the Sovereign of Coins. The Conqueror of Coins is a good card. However, when it is reversed, because it usually means grounded, hard work, routine, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? It signals a need for structure. Again, Aquarius, you're so free-based, you're very impulsive. You're not really looking into stability. You're not thinking of providing a structure for your life. And that's where this card kind of comes into play. You know, you have this sort of, again, that nature of la 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 la, I can do whatever I want. You know, if I want to be here, I'm going to be here. If I want to be there, I'm going to be there. But are you setting foundations for yourself? Are you really putting in that hard effort? You know, we make progress through consistent focus and work. Showing up for that creates the container that allows us to build the energy around our project. Don't lose sight of your vision, go after it, and build brick by brick. You get what I'm saying? It's actually pretty short. But that's essentially what it's saying. You know, you just need consistency. Because you guys are all over the place, there's not a lot of consistency. And I understand that comes from the fact that you get bored very easily. Most Aquariuses do. But sometimes in your boredom, that's when you need to realize that there has to be routine. There needs to be stability. Again, I mentioned this whole self-care thing, like using your ADLs, your activities of daily living. Start setting a routine for yourself. When you go to bed, make sure you're setting your clothes out for the night. When you wake up, make sure you're brushing your teeth. If you have to be at work, and that's the other thing too, is Aquariuses are a little bad about time, okay? You know, at least some of the ones I've interacted with, they will show up either 5 minutes before they need to show up or 5 minutes after they show up. They're not really the early birds of the zodiacs, you know, and that's a big thing. You know, you got to set a routine. I know setting a routine is hard, and sometimes it feels like, you know, this feels constraining, this feels imprisoning, but you got to look at it from a positive mindset, from a positive outlook, that by setting routines, you are providing structure, okay? I just want to say I appreciate everybody that watches this video. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Colin, and this is Weave Your Destiny. Peace. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. It really means a lot and helps others who love magical and spiritual content find their way here too. Until next time, trust the cards and keep weaving your destiny.